Are you a paper hoarder? Do you save those special pieces that you swear you'll use for a special occasion? So do I. In today's video, I've pulled out one of those special pieces of paper and I'm going to put it to some good use. Stay tuned.
You are what I'm looking for. I know what I'm looking for.
Today we're going to start out with my Jen-Velope template reference book. This is a book that I have written and designed all of the templates, and I sell this book on my website for a physical purchase or download. So I'll leave a link in the description down below where you can find this book. So for today, I'm going to be creating an A7 envelope and card. All the steps and measurements I need are in this template. So I've got this beautiful pattern paper. This is from Echo Park, and it's from the 'Twas the Night Before Christmas Volume 2 paper collection. And I'm going to start following along my template. I need to cut this piece down to 8.5 by 11 inches. So I'm going to pop that in my trimmer, and I'll cut it down to 8.5 inches first, and then rotate that piece and cut it down to 11 inches. And I'm going to save these little pieces on the side here. We're going to come back to those later. So I'm all done with my trimmer, and I'm going to pull in my scoreboard, take a look at my template, and it tells me that I need to score on the 8.5 inch side. I need to score at 1/2 inch and 8 inches. On the 11 inch side, I need to score at 2.25 inches and 7.5 inches. So in my scoreboard, I've got this on the 8.5 inch side, and I'm scoring at 1/2 inch and 8 inches. And then I'll rotate my paper and score at 2.25 and then 7.5. And then that's going to be it for the scoring for this piece of cardstock. So this is what we should have so far. I'm just kind of trying to show you so that you can see the score lines here. So we'll have a larger piece, which will be the bottom flap, and we'll have a smaller piece, which will be the envelope closure. So I'm just going to grab my template here, and it tells me that I need to cut off the 4 corners in the template. They're marked in dark green. So we've got these 4 pieces that we're going to cut off. And then we also are going to come back and cut little angle cuts on the 4 corners here. And then this is where we're going to apply our adhesive. All right, and then that will make our envelope. So we'll cut the corners away, we'll crease all the score marks, apply our adhesive, and our envelope will be done. So I'm just going to follow along the score marks here, making sure that I get nice straight cuts, and I take my time here. So I'm just going to cut right along that score line and cut that little piece away. All right, and I'm going to do that to all 4 sides. Exact same thing, we're just following along the score line and cutting those pieces away. And then we'll come back and make some angled cuts on those corners. So I'm just eyeballing here. This is just to help make the envelope close together nicely without any interference. So I'll just clip away those 4 corners, and then there we go. We're all done with cutting. Next step is to burnish all of the score marks. So I'm just going to fold these in. I'm going to take my time because I don't want to crack this cardstock. So I'm just going to make sure that I fold nice and gently and then crease it down with my bone folder. And I'll do that to all of the sides and get everything creased and folded. And then the last step, we're going to apply adhesive to close up this envelope. So these little side flaps here are what is going to attach to the adhesive. So I'm going to apply adhesive on that larger piece. As I mentioned before, this is the envelope bottom. So we're going to apply adhesive along those sides there, fold it up, and then press it into those little 1/2 inch strips. All right. So if anything is overhanging, you can always come back in and just cut off any little bits and pieces that are hanging off. And then there we go. The envelope is ready to go. So for the next step, you can round the corners, use decorative punches and things like that. I like to just make a little slight angle cut. It just creates a little bit of interest, and then it also makes sure that that envelope flap is not overhanging on to the front of the envelope, so you won't be able to see it. Okay, so that's it. And the great thing about this envelope is that it's double-sided paper, so we have a beautiful envelope liner pre-made. So I'm going to add some adhesive to that top closing flap of my envelope, and I won't peel this away. I'm going to leave this here so that when I'm ready to give this away, I'll be able to seal it up. or if I'm going to sell it at a craft fair or something, it's ready to go for the recipient. That's it for the envelope. This is done. Now, if we flip the page in the template book, you'll come to the card bases. So this is all of the measurements that we need to create these card bases, along with the layers to be able to layer your pattern paper or your matte layers and things. So let's get started cutting up that card base. I've got a heavy base weight piece of cardstock. This is Neenah Classic Crest Solar White. It measures 8.5 inches by 11 inches. I'm going to pop this into my trimmer and I'm going to cut it down following along my guide. So first up, I'm going to cut this down to 10 inches. Okay, so I'm going to cut across the 11-inch side. I'll cut it down to 10 inches and then I'll rotate it, and across the 8.5-inch side, I'll cut it down to 7 inches. And then we're going to score, and across the 10-inch side, we're going to make our score at 5 inches. Then I'm going to fold the cardstock in half, use my bone folder to give it a nice sharp crease. And there we go. Our card base is all done. Super simple, super easy. And we just need to decorate now. This fits perfectly inside of our 5x7 envelope. All right, let's get to making this into a beautiful card. We're going to come back to the scraps from earlier in this video, and I'm just going to trim off that branding strip there. And I'm going to measure how wide of a piece I have left. This is the great thing about having the layers guide ready for you, so you don't really have to figure things out. So I've got a little ruler here. I'm going to measure that this piece is 3.5 inches wide. So if I go to my layers guide and I find the measurement that's 3.5 inches, it will tell me the other measurement so that I have a width and length. So this tells me that I need a 5.5 inch by 3.5 inch piece. So since we've already got 3.5 inches, I'll cut this down to 5.5 inches, and we're going to have a perfect matte layer that's going to fit perfectly on this card. Now, I wanted to create a red cardstock border around this pattern paper. So I just checked to make sure that I like the way that looks. And then I'm going to go back to my layers guide and figure out which size of layer that I need. So I can create a thinner border and have it 3.25 by 5.25, or make it a little bit bigger and cut a piece that measures 4 by 6. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose 4 by 6. So I've got this red piece of cardstock here. I'm going to trim it down to 4 inches, rotate, and then cut to 6 inches. And now this should give us a perfect matte layer for our pattern paper. And I'm going to glue all of these down to the front of my card base. I love the way this looks. I really like that white space and those beautiful Christmas colors. Okay, so that's all glued down. Now I'm going to take the other little scrap that I had from this pattern paper. I have a 1-inch strip around here somewhere, and I'm going to adhere this right inside of my card. I'm going to adhere that right down to the bottom of my card base. And then I'm also going to cut up a little thin strip of that red cardstock and put that over top of my pattern paper. I think that this helps tie everything in together nicely. So we've got the envelope, the front of the card, and the inside of the card all matching together beautifully. Next, I'm going to grab some of the stickers from that Echo Park Christmas paper pack, and I'm just going to kind of dig through and see what I can find. I wanted to make this a really quick and easy card without spending too much time, but really creating a beautiful result. So I'm just going to kind of pull off some of these stickers and see what I like. And I ended up with this poinsettia and a little Merry Christmas banner. And then also a little holly branch. I'm going to pop that up in the top right corner. So we've got like the elements of 3 here. So we have 3 elements on the card, and it creates a nice visual effect. And I really like the way that looks. I had a last little piece here, a little piece of holly, and I thought this would be perfect on the inside corner of the card. And that's it. That's all I'm going to do to this card. Nothing over the top or fancy pantsy or anything like that. But I really like the way this looks. So once I've got that envelope out, there was a sticker that said, "Do not open till Christmas morning." And I thought that's perfect. I'm going to put that right on the front of my envelope. I'm going to pop my card in, make sure everything is good. There's no interference and nothing is catching. And then the last thing I want to do is grab a little present and put it on the back flap. This envelope and card was super simple and didn't require a lot of work. But you have some really beautiful results in the end. Super easy. Anybody could do this. And you can create some beautiful pattern paper cards that coordinate together, whether it be for Christmas or birthday or whatever. Just pull out some of those beautiful papers that you've been hoarding and put them to good use. Okay, so that's going to be it for today's video. All the products that I used in today's video will be linked in the description box down below. So if you do decide to make a purchase, please use my links as it helps support my channel. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend it here with me. I appreciate the support as always. Coming up on screen is a video I think you may enjoy. Have yourself a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!